Like, oh my goodness.
Hey guys, wow, I'm running late because my computer decided to implode. So it's restarting right now, just a mere foot away from me. So I have this weird, gigantic head. It's like gigantic. Like I don't even know what the deal is here, and there's not this awkward lighting. Although I guess I can kind of get my cool props going there. You know, get some cool movie stuff happening up there at least.
You left your patrons unattended.
Yeah, so maybe I can at least have a somewhat interesting background. But welcome to a slightly late live stream here to discuss the best vampire movies of all time. But we won't find out the 10 best vampire movies of all time because we'll actually find that out in 2 days' time on Dead Last, this very special Dead Last of the 10 best vampires. So let me talk about really quick how we did this. Does anyone remember how long ago was it? Was it like a month or two ago?
I'd say about 2 months ago was when we first started talking about it in one of the Zoom calls.
It was August.
It was probably like 2 months ago that I said to YouTube, email me your top 10 vampire movies of all time. Just the top 10 vampire movies. No order, just whatever 10 vampire movies you love more than anything. Email me that. And I got a bunch of lists. I got over 100 some lists. So there was a lot. The process that I then did was each time that a movie showed up on the list, I would then take that and I would put it into a spreadsheet. And anytime it got mentioned, it got one vote, got a point. I did also allow my patrons to send in their lists, and I've got a bunch of patrons here as well, some of which I can't quite fit onto the screen. It only lets me put a couple of people on at a time. So I'll try to switch some people over. But the patrons, their lists were worth 3 points each. So some of their movies got a little bit extra juice. And then what I did was the movies that got the most points, that were mentioned the most on the most lists, got put up into the top 10. So that's where we came up with what the top 10 vampire movies were. So there was a lot there. But again, like I said, there was only 10 there. But today we're going to talk about the movies that didn't quite make that list. And if I can just get things to work properly, I can get to them. But yes, as soon as my computer becomes aware again, instead of being self-aware. And
oh, great! Just what you need for it to become self-aware and like start.
I know
it starts judging you randomly. It's not even like the full Hal. It just starts judging you about random, arbitrary things.
Yeah, well, if my computer could actually see what's on its own hard drive, it would be judging me very strongly. It'd be like, wait,
Ferguson's movie.
It would be like, wait, why do you have so many Krampus movies on here? What is going on? What are you doing to me?
Clippy just shows up concerned.
It's like, I can't, you go to turn on a movie, it's like, I can't let you do that, Josh.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. It's just like, I can't let you watch that.
Like, are you kidding? You really want to watch that? No, you're not allowed. And then it puts up something else entirely.
It would tell me you've watched Once Bitten 10 times this month. You just don't need to watch it anymore.
I've been holding off on my rewatch of Once Bitten, if for nothing else. Then I think at some point Uncle Pete and I need to like have our own like joint live stream of us watching Once Bitten and then watching other people watch. Like other people can watch us be way too excited about stupid crap.
Yes.
I like that.
I wonder if we could do a live stream of me doing a guitar leg and Sable doing.
No, absolutely not. Although I think I have that leotard somewhere.
Well, I am very excited because this is the very first Dead Last that we've done like this, that we've had the roster of movies essentially be picked by YouTube and have like everybody sort of jointly decide which movies that we were watching. So this was kind of fun, and I think we'll do some things like this in the future as well too, to kind of switch it up a little bit. What do you mean? Check my internet connection. I am clearly connected to the internet because you have all those other things. Anyway, so this was a lot of fun, and the number of movies that I got that were mentioned. I mean, a lot of movies were only mentioned one time, and that was kind of fun to see. Whereas what movies had some people had on there, and I might be able to do this. Let me just see real quick here. This might work. I'm trying to get back to my regular computer here and defeat these technical difficulties, but I'm not sure if it's going to let me be two people on the same thing in order to represent myself twice.
Leave us unattended.
I know. The downside of it being on my iPad, which is what this is right here, is that I can hardly hear anything because the speakers of an iPad are designed to amplify the fart of a flea, and it is not very loud. So yeah, but so you've got this Dead Last coming to you for Friday. There's a lot more stuff coming to you. Shoot. Okay, I'm trying to get on my computer, so I apologize. So I have a feeling that
we can
just
talk
working
about
this out here. Professor Victor, I have you in there. You're going to get booted out of the studio for like literally a second, so I apologize. You can log right back on, but hold on. Just so I can. See if I can get myself in there.
In this lighting, he does look like he has more gray hair than usual.
Wow.
I know, it seriously, doesn't it though?
No,
Like,
I
looking
mean,
really
I feel like
freaking
you
old.
just like hucked him under that bus there, Uncle Pete.
My husband has a lot more gray hair than Josh.
Okay, so it's not letting me do this. So I'm just going to pull up my list here and we'll discuss it from the iPad, and I'll just not be able to hear that terribly well. Anyhow, so moving on. Let's talk about these vampire movies. So just to kind of give you a heads up, we're in November. Hopefully everybody is enjoying November quite a bit. I hope you guys are liking the content that we're getting. There are still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 November videos coming your way. That's right. There's going to be 3 videos next week. Special Turkey Day video. There's going to be one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and
Thanksgiving. Nice.
Thursday for Thanksgiving. So expect some turkeys.
So are we bringing back reheated turkeys?
What's that?
We're bringing back reheated turkeys? That's short-lived?
You know what? I wish I could bring back reheated turkeys, but no one watches it. So
I
we'll
watched
see.
it.
And plus,
You're not the right group, Sarah.
yes, I do have a couple of movies that I had wanted to do episodes on reheated turkeys on, including the movie Chomps. Don't know if I say the word Chomps, does anybody know what the hell I'm talking about? Chomps is a movie about a robot dog that featured the kid from Land of the Lost.
Wait,
there
the
you go.
original Land of the Lost?
Chomps. I would love to do a reheated turkeys on Chomps. It is not a horror movie, but I still would want to do it. But yes, no, you will be seeing some pretty bad movies on Turkey Day. Next week, there's a couple of videos that are mini timelines as well. One of which is one that literally no one has ever asked for. I've not had a single request, but I did it anyway. And then there's another one that is that I've had several requests for. I think you guys will enjoy that. And then we'll move on to November. I've got a bunch of stuff planned for November that's going to be a lot of fun.
You mean December?
But vampires, let's talk about them really quick here.
He meant to say.
There was a lot of movies that got a single vote. I'll read off some of, I think, the more notable ones that I thought were interesting that were on there, such as the Twilight did get one vote. I don't know if it was an ironic vote or a serious vote, but there was one vote for Twilight. There you go. There was.
Yes, Victor, it was Stephen.
I know. I'm kind of bummed out that Love at First Bite only got one nod. Only one person voted for Love at First Bite being their first one, because I think
Almost
that's
got on
awesome.
my list. Almost.
Somebody had Flintstones Meet Rockula on their list, which is kind of cool. I'm assuming it's not the same.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yes.
It would really work if
it's
it was the right
disappointing.
Rockula.
Well, that's what's disappointing is the Flintstones Meet Rockula got a vote, but the actual movie Rockula got no votes. So there you go.
So what was it? Dean Cameron as Rockula with the
Dean
Flintstones?
Cameron Chainsaw as Rockula. And fun fact, I have sung a song with Rockula, Dean Cameron. Dean Cameron has a karaoke band that he plays in, a live karaoke band called the Corys. And what they do is they actually go and they play live music just without the lyrics, and you sign up and you go on stage and you sing with them. And he doesn't publicize that he's Dean Cameron. He's like the guitar Corey, but he is definitely Dean Cameron. And you can go up on stage and sing a song with them. And I actually got to sing a couple of songs with them. I sang "Kiss Me Deadly" by Lita Ford.
Love that song.
Yeah. Mikey actually went up and called him Rockula. He was like, "I'm singing with Rockula." That's exactly what Mikey's voice sounds like, by the way.
I mean, I would only call him Chainsaw. Only.
Yeah, yes.
That is all he is in my mind.
Some other notable ones that got some notes. I'm actually kind of happy, and this is interesting because I guess whether or not you want to call it a vampire movie is iffy, but Lair of the White Worm, which I think is just a great, bizarre movie. It got one vote on there. Such a fun movie. Not one I think of right away when I think of vampires, but
See, that one I fought with putting on my list just because I do enjoy it so very much. But I had that same conversation, and then I had to make room for Blood and Donuts. So,
yes, yeah.
Clearly.
Yes. Blood and Donuts. The queen. She looked good.
Clearly, we are the only two people that care about that.
Yes. Count Yorga only got one vote, but it did get one. I'm happy about that. Stan Helsing got a vote. That was somebody's list on there. Again, I'm not sure if it was an ironic choice or not, but Stan Helsing.
I have to believe that was ironic.
Yeah.
What's that?
I have to believe that's ironic. I can't.
I would hope so, but you never know.
Still have the hope that somebody chose Big Kahuna Vampire Slayer, and I am not the only person that has ever seen that movie.
I've never even heard of that one.
Adam West as a Van Helsing clone.
I need to see that.
Oh, he lives in a trailer on a beach. Like he's a surfer dude. It's a train wreck of a movie, and you see the boom mic in like 90% of the shot.
Wait, what was the title, Sable?
Big Kahuna Vampire Slayer.
All right, I'm adding so much garbage to my Letterboxd watch list.
I know. I would like to see that so much. I'd have to now hunt that down.
I think I have that on VHS somewhere, but it's no help to anybody else because I don't think I have a VHS to DVD or a VHS. I mean, I guess I could hook it all up to my computer, but I'm just lazy.
Let's see what else. Now, when we start to get up into the bigger list, they start to get a little bit more obvious, but there's some cool stuff in here. The Addiction got 2 votes, which
really good movie.
That's one I actually really dig. So kind of
came
cool
this
one.
close to making my list.
Yeah, it's a good flick. And Ganja and Hess got 3 votes. Another one that's a pretty influential, cool movie that I would have liked to have seen get some more in there. It's a movie I feel like could probably be a little bit more talked about. But then a lot of the ones above that become a little bit more obvious. So what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about the movies that almost made the top 10, but didn't quite make it. I don't want to reveal what the actual top 10 were. You'll find that out on Friday with the dead last rankings. But the patrons who are here with me today, they know. They've ranked them. This is a nice little insight for you guys as well too out there in YouTube land about how long the dead last videos kind of take to produce. The patrons right here, you guys have a list. You guys have the movies that are ready to go for the episode that you're going to see. I think the one that everybody's watching right now are the ones for the December episode, which is themed of Christmas horror once again. But we also have printed the list of movies for the January episode, so they can start watching those as well too. So I like to give people a lot of notice ahead of time so that if you haven't seen any of the movies that you could watch them. And if it's 10 to 12 movies that we're ranking, I want to make sure that people have the time frame to do it, because I mean, I know that I can watch a movie a day, sometimes two if it's, if I'm like working. But I realize that not everybody has that luxury. So I like to try to give people as much time as possible. And I figure 2 months is plenty of time for someone to watch 10 movies, unless your name is Christy, and then you need about 4. But you can watch an entire season of a TV show in a day and a half. There you go. Anyway, so we put out that list, I think 2 months ago is when I asked for it. And the patrons got the list and worked on the rankings. They sent in the rankings a couple of weeks ago. And then we shot the episode approximately 2 weeks ago. And now the video will go up in 2 days. So that's how long that this process takes. So whenever I ask for a list of things like that, that's why you don't see the outcome of it for quite a while, because it takes some time. It takes some time to put together this level of art.
Takes the time to put this level of art and those sweet fangs.
Yes. Just realized that this lighting that I have below me has a weird yellowish cast, and my teeth look like really.
It's
like
less
really
noticeable
yellow.
on my absolutely terrible monitor, but because I'm on my laptop and I'm looking at my actual office, but I'm like, I could go up there where like the camera's good and everything, and I'm like, it's like work. So.
All right, so let's get down to it. So this is the movies that didn't quite make the top 10. I guess it's the next 10. So going by the sheer points here, the one that just missed making the top 10, just missed it there. It's 30 Days of Night was the one that almost made it onto that list, which I think is it's a pretty damn good flick. It's a great movie, and but I don't. There's definitely things about it that I know that I didn't put it on my top 10 list, my personal list, and I know that it mainly is just because I feel like it has such a great setup, and then it doesn't really go anywhere with it, and then the ending is just kind of like, I don't know. He just fights one of them and he dies. There you go. So it just seems very abrupt in the ending, and that kept it off of my list. Although I do think it's a damn fine flick and visually great. I love that. I know it showed up on a lot of your guys' list. A lot of the patrons. I know it was on quite a few of your lists.
Definitely not mine.
Mine either.
I was gonna say, should
Not
we
a
just go,
fan.
like, we're all gonna stay quiet until Stephen Bell has basically an aneurysm in front of everybody.
Well,
I don't hate it, man.
I know
I don't like
Steven's
it.
list definitely had some more unusual picks in there, and I know Sarah's list also had some more unusual picks in there. Definitely, I think that the vampire movies are a pretty cool niche genre because people have their own very distinct feels to what they like, and particular vampires that they do like. But Next on there, the next one down that didn't quite make the list, and I would have this would have been fun to compare with other things, is Blade, because Blade is such a cool movie. I actually really enjoy Blade. It is a damn fine, fun movie, but to kind of compare it to like some of the things that made the top 10, that would have been a weird dichotomy of like serious vampire movie and Blade, which is.
I think that perhaps Let the Right One In and Blade could be in the same category.
Yeah, it's in the same realm. But I don't know. Blade is just so much fun. It would have been a fun thing to like think about. But yeah, I'm glad that Blade got a lot of votes. But
Professor Victor is suggesting a shared universe, and I am thinking that could be the most unsettling shared universe that I kind of want to go to. I kind of want to go.
It's true. The next one on the list that didn't quite make the rankings, and I know that AJ just mentioned this one a little bit earlier, is The Hunger. The Hunger was one that was close to making it.
Sad it didn't make it.
That would have been.
Yeah, The Hunger.
That
The Hunger
was my
was
number one.
Loved to see a little bit higher up on that list and got a little points. It is a really good movie, and with some fantastic performances in it. Mm-hmm. So it would have been a good addition to the best vampire movies of all time.
And it tugs at the little goth girl heartstrings.
I know. It is like,
and or other things.
And it's got David Bowie.
Yeah, seriously, vampire David Bowie alone, like,
right?
Well, I don't know. Maybe this one makes me a little bit sad, and maybe this is sacrilege, but it is a little bit of a bummer to me that with the same amount of points as showing up on the same number of lists as The Hunger, Underworld.
That's surprising. I don't get it. I like Underworld, but
when you compare
vampire,
I have to admit that I do not like Underworld. Underworld is a movie for me that is just not for me. That genre of like the early 2000s like leather cool like Matrix sort of horror movies was not my cup of tea. I'm not a huge fan of the Resident Evil flicks, and I feel like the Underworld movies are basically the same thing.
They're a step above Resident Evil.
What's that?
I think the Underworld movies are a step above Resident Evil.
I think they're side.
Yeah, I would agree that they're a step to the side.
Like they're different enough in the respect of like, so like it wasn't until the second and the third of the Resident Evil movies where like the leather became very obvious. Like okay, we're just gonna put like scantily clad Milla Jovovich in to the closest S&M shop and then just took their whole stock.
Yeah.
See, I can't tell the difference between the Underworld movies. They're all the same, and the Resident Evil, they're all the same. There's no discerning figure between all of them. They're all the same movie.
Yeah. Damn,
Well,
my
I
hair
mean, at
looks
least
really
you get
great.
Michael Sheen as
I
a
hope that that's
werewolf.
just highlights of the light, because I mean, Jesus, look at this. This is insane.
Oh, you look
like-
fine, kitten.
I think
look
it's
like-
just the lighting.
I look like Corey Feldman in Puppet Master versus Demonic.
Can you only talk like this?
Yeah, I talk like this the whole rest of the time, and now you'll think I'm an old man. Next up on the ranking there on the roster that didn't make the list is, I guess we're going to call it The Horror of Dracula, which was also just Dracula. It's the 1958 Christopher Lee Dracula. And I know Daniel is probably very, very upset that this is where it is. Daniel, wherever you are up in Canada right now, man, it did not make the list. I know that is heartbreaking. But
He doesn't love Hammer Dracula.
There was
Actually,
a surprising lack of Christopher Lee vampire movies on people's top 10s,
So
which
we were
is a little bit of a bummer.
surprisingly lists.
I had him.
Yeah,
Dracula,
yes.
Prince of Darkness.
Yes, that actually got that did get some votes, but that one, you know, it's a pretty damn good flick. It's pretty cool. Christopher Lee is a great Dracula, and Peter Cushing's in it. It's one of the more like creepy ass Draculas that you're getting in horror.
It's like way more violent when you compare it to like Bela Lugosi.
Oh yeah, oh, God,
yeah.
yeah, and it actually has an ending.
I don't know if it's just me, but all of the Hammer Dracula movies kind of run together in my brain because they made so many of them. Like I don't know which one is my favorite because they all just kind of run.
It's
together.
like one big movie for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
that's about right. I mean, because I know that I feel like the Hammer Frankenstein movies, they were pretty radically different from movie to movie. Like they would have like different like themes and everything like that, and they would feel very different. But yeah, I agree. The Hammer Dracula ones kind of did the same thing until obviously they brought them into the 70s.
Right.
Well, then it became the 70s for everybody, and that alone is just entertainment
Yes.
value. It's why I didn't put any of the Hammer ones on it, because it is one big movie. It'd be like all the Hammer Dracula movies, please.
Yes. Yes.
Can I just insert all of them?
Just Christopher Lee.
I think we have our next Vampire Dead Last.
Yeah, and I can do that. Look at that.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey.
Look at that. I like this comment here. Lee played Dracula so many times he might have worked against him. He split his own voter base. That is an excellent point. I did not know you can do that. I learned that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I could just sit there and I can highlight people's comments like that. Look at that, Mad Mardigan 21. It is a crime that Hammer Dracula didn't make the list. You are correct. I like that. That's pretty cool. I did not know you could do that, but now I'll probably do it every 5 minutes. Also not making the list, and this was one that here's a little bit of inside channel scoop, is that I was looking for a mini timeline, and I thought, I'll do Salem's Lot. It'll be fun. I'll do Salem's Lot and then return to Salem's Lot, and boom, you got a mini timeline right there. And I started to watch it, and then doing all my research, I was rewatching Salem's Lot, enjoying it very, very much because it's actually a really good movie. At 3 hours, it's maybe a little bit drawn out to be the mini series, so maybe it's a little bit slow. But then I discovered, because I was unaware that they did a remake mini series of it that aired, I guess, about 10 or 15 years back, that I was completely unaware of.
That's right.
Yeah. So when that was confusing to me, so I did not know that. So because of that makes 3 movies. So it actually got locked out of. I'm switching up the stream a little bit, so I apologize. So that got locked out of mini timeline territory and became an actual timeline. And I'm actually trying to balance the timelines here for a little bit, and because I'm trying to plan out something specific, and I guess you'll see what that is. I'm trying not to do so many horror timelines in a row because I'm saving up for number 100, which is coming up in the near future. I'm trying to time it so that it happens properly. Anyway, regardless, so there is no Salem's Lot timeline coming in the near future, but it will be in the future. But rewatching it, yes, that is a damn spooky vampire.
Yeah.
I watched it not too long ago.
What was that?
I watched it not too long ago myself. Rewatched it. It is a good movie. A little long, but still a good movie.
Yeah,
What is
like I
that
said,
noise?
it drags in the middle, but it is fun to see. Oh Jesus, what? I can't believe I'm blanking on the name.
Are we talking about? You're talking about Salem's Lot?
What happened? Anyway, he's in the movie. The guy from all of the improv movies, whose name is escaping me right now. But as soon as I see it, I will say that is the dumbest thing to not remember. Anyway.
I could try to fill in the gap, but I've got like very little info right now.
I know.
Can
Can you do that impression again?
He's the guy from the Best in Show that is one of the announcers. He's like the inappropriate announcer.
Oh, yes. I know exactly who you're talking about. And now I can't remember his name. I blame you.
Not Fred Willard.
Yes.
Fred Willard. There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
Fred Willard is in Salem's Lot. He has a fairly small role, but he's very funny in it.
I don't remember that.
Okay, so the next one on the roster down, how many was that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so the 7th one down. Somebody earlier had mentioned this one near the beginning of it, which is Vamp. Vamp got quite a few votes, which is a fine film. I haven't seen it for a while, but I do remember it. I remember it as being the movie that Long Duck Dong got to not have to use a racist voice in. It's like, oh wait, I could just talk like myself. Yay!
Yeah.
But yeah, good flick.
The gang in that movie are some of the weirdest. The entire gang.
See, I have again. That's the thing. I feel like I haven't seen that one for quite a while. I need to catch up on that. I'm due a rewatch on Vamp. I wish it had made the top 10 because then I would be able to have a reason to watch it.
Well,
Yes,
the gang in that
because
movie is I think most of them are albinos. Then the girl of the main guy starts a feud with the main characters because she kind of hits on them in a flirtatious stare, and then it turns out she has horrible teeth, and he makes a weird face when he notices that, and that just sparks the ire of the entire.
Jeez. Well, next up on the list is one. Let's switch up a bit here. Let's put Robert up there. Next up on the list is one that I also wish would have been up on the roster of movies to rank, because it is such a cool movie, is Daybreakers. I think Daybreakers is one of those movies that I really enjoy.
I like that one. That's a tough one.
It's like on the fence of being that like Matrix cool movie, like underworld thing. It's like almost there, but it doesn't quite fall into that. It doesn't fall into it too much. It actually still has its own thing happening, and I like the world building that they do in it. I think it actually does a pretty good job with it. If you haven't seen Daybreakers, it's worth checking out. They actually do some fun playing around. The guys that made Daybreakers they had such a good start. It's like the Spearing brothers. Yeah. They made this really cool zombie movie called Undead, which if you haven't seen it, it's really crazy, really fun, very silly movie, very over the top movie that has aliens in it and zombies and like weird old farmers that end up doing like kung fu flips and stuff. It's a really crazy movie, and then because of the buzz of that movie, they started getting more attention, and they ended up being able to make Daybreakers, and they had a really solid budget. And after that, they ended up making a bunch of junk. Most of that was just not that great. Like they made I believe they did they not make Jigsaw? Did somebody? I feel like one of them is responsible for Jigsaw. So, but I
would not be the authority to ask on that.
Get up. But yeah, the movies that they did after that, they had such a good start, and then it was just straight downhill from there. But yeah, they did do a movie. Yeah, they did Jigsaw. They did do another movie that was pretty cool called Predestination, with James Brolin. Yeah. That was or not James Brolin, Ethan Hawke. That was pretty interesting and pretty cool movie that doesn't totally work, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, then they made Jigsaw and Winchester. So thanks, I guess. Anyway, the next up on the list is one that I feel like didn't get higher up on here. I don't know if it's because it wasn't that great of a movie or if people just don't consider it a vampire movie. Is Life Force. I know I had a couple of people even like send me emails and ask, like, is Life Force a vampire movie? And yeah, it's a space vampire movie. They're vampires from space. That is 100% a vampire movie, without a doubt.
It's a vampire movie, but it didn't get all those votes because it's a vampire movie, and we all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, they got it because of a naked lady walking around for the entirety of the
The
movie.
entire movie. Yeah. When you were a kid and you saw it, that was fantastic.
I know. You know what's funny? I actually really love Life Force. It is a guilty pleasure for me, and it is one of those movies that I remember being younger, and like the whole ending with just basically like a near apocalypse with just like these streaming like arcs of energy flying throughout the sky and blowing people up. Like I was just like, holy cow, that is just amazing stuff. I love Life Force. I almost wish Life Force. I didn't have it on my top 10 though, but it is a good movie. And then the final movie, we'll talk about two more. We'll talk about two more here. Next one up is kind of funny because we talked about the first one. Blade 2 is up pretty high up on that list. It's in the top 20. So there's two movies in the top 20. It's the only franchise that actually had two entries that made got high up on the votes here. And I do prefer Blade 2 to Blade 1, although it's a very close match. I like them both equally, but they feel like very different movies to me. But I actually like the world building of the second one a little bit more than the first one.
And it doesn't have that blood scene, that terrible
The CGI blood.
Yeah,
it still has some terrible CGI though. But
yes,
It
that's
does.
correct.
But that's
Just
like
not
a
as
different
blatant.
level.
Yeah,
It's not as blatant. But yeah, it's my only complaint about Blade 2, and believe it or not, this is my complaint about Guillermo del Toro movies in general, is that there's too much it's like you actually lose track of what the human world is like, because like the entire movie is through the eyes of a vampire hunter and the vampires, and you don't see how they relate to the real world. Like the first one actually shows you human beings and like that how their reaction to these things that are going on, whereas the second one is just like, here's vampires fighting vampires, and you don't what do people think about this? Who knows? It's the same thing with Pacific Rim. Like Pacific Rim is a movie about giant monsters that like 75% of it is in an underground lab. And it's like, this is not what I want to see from giant monster movies. Come on now. But anyhow, it's still a very good flick. I like Blade 2 quite a bit. So it's enjoyable. And the final movie I'm going to talk about here, which I guess we'll say is the bottom 20, or the top 20, the number 10 through 20, whatever you want to call it, is a movie that I talked about just on my unanswered questions video, which is Shadow of the Vampire, which is a really good flick. I could see why people don't have it higher. I didn't see why it didn't show up on more rankings, but it's still a good flick. Once Bitten is on there to Uncle Pete and Sable. It is on there. It is just a little bit further down on the list. But yeah, so those are the ones that didn't quite make it. But which ones did make the top 10? Which ones made the top 10? I guess we'll have to leave that for Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You'll get to see the Dead Last episode featuring that top 10 movies. It is a different kind of a panel. It is a ladies only panel. I guess excluding me. I am a dude that is on the panel. But it is Sable is going to be there. She's one of the panel members, and I'll put it back on. Sarah is actually one of the panel members as well too. Her second time on Dead Last, and Christy is back to be a panel member. When I asked her if she wanted to be on the panel, I showed her the roster of movies, and she said, "Well, I've seen like 7 of them, so yeah, I'll do it." She's like, "I don't even need to rewatch those because I've seen so many of them. I've seen them so many times." So I'm very excited about that. And I guess miniature, not so much a spoiler, but just a heads up, there is a tie. There was a tie in there. It's not every episode that we get a tie, but this one does feature a tie. I guess we'll see how that all works out. But so yeah, tune into that on Friday, and tune in to Monday. You're going to get a movie mini timeline, and then you're going to get a double back-to-back Wednesday and Thursday episode. to do it. And somebody earlier had mentioned, I'm going to go back up near the top of the chat, but somebody had mentioned that Stakeland was a great movie. Let me see if I could find that particular comment. But I agree, and I will tell you, here you go, Brian Finlay said Stakeland was good. I agree, and you will, before the month is over, be seeing a Stakeland mini timeline, which I enjoyed quite a bit. Stakeland, I feel like, is a little bit of an underrated movie. I would recommend it if you haven't seen it. Yeah, and then we go into December. There's so much in December for you. There's a lot of not everything is going to be holiday oriented, but there's definitely going to be some holiday movie stuff in there, including some terrible Krampus things. That's I guess that's about it. So just keeping this kind of short. So I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Patrons, if you want to stay on for a minute or so after I click off the broadcast, and I will see you guys on the rest of you guys. I'll see you on Monday. So hopefully we'll see you then. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.